Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dice Cult for episode 167 of On the Backs of Gods. I'm your DM, Jillian, and we have our players here today. Same as always, we have Kyle, Matt, Katie, Josh, and Greg. I think we can go ahead and jump into a recap and get things started. I personally want to know what is next, just for, for DM reasons and for funsy reasons. But last time, all of you were just coming off of the, I'm sure, positive and negative effects of a conversation that was had amongst the group, including Russ, which turned sour towards the end and at least got the information out there. Information was put out to the group. And whatever happened after that happened after that. But Russ left the room, Nix left the room, and left a call for her connection to the flies. And Roshan left the room, and Nix went to go talk to him and was like, hey, listen, give me your money. Give me your fucking money. And Roshan's like, you can have it. You take whatever you want. And Nix takes this money and then goes and talks to Russ, who seems to be trying to meditate with the help of Brynja. Russ apologizes to Nix about being there and reacting like he did in the first place. He says that he knew he shouldn't have been part of that conversation and was upset that people did not say anything about Nix's worsening condition and was not happy with how certain people talked to him and removed himself from the scenario. And then questioned if he should go to the woods because people in this group actively threatened the most tied for first place most important person in his life. They probably middle depending on who's in view. If Nix is in the other room, Sindri's there. Maybe Sindri's number one. But I digress. Seems upset about that. And Nix presents some information that somebody who is associated with Sindri may be a bit shady and involved with some catastrophic events that took place on the coast. Russ immediately says, I wish you would talk to Sindri about this, and implores Nix to do so, that he will answer her question, and he does not doubt that. And kind of leans towards that he thinks there might be like things Sindri doesn't know, that he thinks this may have flown under Sindri's radar. But the thing is, Russ has no connection to this, so he does not know, and is very content with you finding out, Nix. So is happy to do that. The rest of the team kind of is like, all right, we're going to the woods. I'm going to count how many ball bearings I have in my bag for a couple hours. If that takes place. The connection to the fly shows up. Nix ends up giving the money and gems instead of this information that would be really bad for the team if 'twere shared. But ends up clearing everything up, is no longer indebted to this information gathering and spreading group. Also at this time, somebody comes in with deliveries, which includes a terrible jar. And you know that terrible jar is probably for you, as your gift from Sindri, to possibly help with dealings if you are dealing with a hag. If not, then you just have a terrible jar, a terrible, unnerving jar, lingering in the dark space of the bag of holding. And there's something unsettling about it being out of view, as much as it is when it is in view. And also, Nix, you receive a letter from Jin Lee, who basically says, it was really amazing for me how sad you got at the party. And honestly, I couldn't top that. So I'm gonna chill for a minute. Thank you for a wonderful time. She's like, we'll talk later. But for now, thank you for such a display of your sorrow. Really gave her life. and that was promptly thrown in the fire. You were informed that there were letters for your companions, and there was an arrow bouquet. Those casually sit on the bar top, left to time as they sit. That's neither here nor there. More there, though. But eventually the team gets together, jumps through the tree, Russ included, and you are in Dem Woods. Russ, well, now Russ, Nix and Keld's home, a beautiful snowy scape. It's a regular forest, especially compared to the last forest you guys were in. This is just like, if you looked it up in the dictionary, there she is. Woods. You make your way into the community where everybody seems elated to see Nix and Keld. The chief is called for, and that chief ends up being their father, along with the ladle, who is their mother. And everybody comes together. There seems to be some sort of celebration happening, which is Grilly's pot mitzvah, where Grilly will go into the woods and forage for something to add to the pot. And during this time, she can also begin to pick her title in the community and can go through that process. So she is now old enough to kind of pick a direction for herself. Sometimes I'm sure people's choices don't line up with what they do and who they are, but I'm sure if you ask really nice, maybe you could change your title. But nonetheless, your parents realize that you guys are fucked up, as Keld is missing a hand and Nix's body is slowly covering with ice. And Russ is welcomed into the community by being put inside of the pot while it is, not hot, before the cooking commences, which seems to be a very beautiful moment for him for the first time ever having family. And everybody's put to work near immediately. As Roshan is waiting for his sister to magically, safely appear, as stated in Dem Woods. The request was for her to come safely to Dem Woods. And the ladle insists that Roshan go peel potatoes, and then insists that Nix go peel potatoes. And they have a little bit of a heart-to-heart where apologies are exchanged, and they are at least now on speaking terms. So good for Nix and Roshan. The festivities kick up. The pot mitzvah makes way. Grilly goes and finds some chives and adds them to the pot. Now a provider for the community, now part of that community. And a kind of out of left field aurora borealis adjacent thing appears in the sky. And most people are like, that's pretty neat. And some people notice a bit of a weird shift to its formation, something strange as it moves through the sky, almost like it peels back. And a shadow of something off in the distance. The only reason this thing was visible at all, even slightly, is because of this illumination in the sky. But just off miles, who could tell? If it was a big thing, who could tell? A small thing could be right there. But something falls from the sky into the forest. And that's where we're going to pick up. Yes, Nana?
Thing Nana said last session was, I'm running for the woods.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of where I'm starting.
Okay.
She's like getting up from like whatever like Addie's position she was in. She is starting to kind of like try and triangulate like about how far out it's going to be and how long she's going to have to run, and then starts like trying to like build up some momentum.
Okay. What else are other people doing? I'd love to know what you're doing, Roshan, really. I'm just gonna get what I want. What are you doing?
Yeah, Roshan, I think, watches this happen. He's exhausted because he's spent the last like 16 plus hours waiting for this to happen, and he's not like 100% certain, but I think he whispers, "It's her," and then casts polymorph on himself and turns into a giant owl.
Okay.
So an owl about, I don't know, are they medium? Large.
That makes sense.
So
Oh, big boy.
an owl that's probably 8, 9-ish feet tall with a wingspan probably 20 feet long. Shifts near the edge of the party, and I think he's probably going to fly mostly up, but
What's your
get an
movement?
eye 60.
Okay. I'll put you 60 feet up. Everybody roll initiative. This is the only way I'm handling this. I'm not gonna have everybody just start yelling. We're gonna do initiative now. Okay. $20 to $25. Okay. 15 to 20.
17.
So it's like, gotta put my soup down. I gotta put my coat on. 10 to 15. I don't know where I am in space. Like, what number am I at?
13.
All right.
Wow.
If you think you might be the next highest, what's up?
8.
Nana, did you say 9?
I did 9.
Okay. For sure. 8. And Keld, what do you have?
5.
Nice.
Buddy.
I'm eating my soup.
He's like,
How dare
And the
these
thing
people have
is-
shenanigans?
And I didn't see whatever the fuck's going on in the sky. Just trying
yeah,
to eat
Apparently
my
you,
soup.
but
Oh,
you
yeah.
do see a giant owl appear at the party and like just go straight up.
Oh,
Because I'm sure people who are right next to this scream. Because
Now I have
a
to take
giant
in who's
owl-
missing from the table.
yep.
Mm.
Those 3
Okay.
again.
The community will go on your turn, Held. Because that's what they do. Go on your turn
Oh.
because that's what happened.
Keld has the power of the whole community behind him? Jeez, guys.
Okay.
And sitting pretty at the top of the initiative is Russ.
Yeah,
Cool.
buddy.
He's
Kind
just
of
so
like-
fast.
He's so fast. He's so fast and strong. He's
He's a nightmare
his
monster
brain
man,
is
and I
very
love him.
smooth. He's kind of like sitting at a table kind of next to where Nix is standing. And
If
is
he
sort
were
of like,
genius, he'd be OP.
yeah, if he were any smarter. But he has like kind of like back to the table, like kind of like leaning back, and is just like now watching this before him. And he like slowly like started like lifting a piece of bread to his mouth and kind of like stopped. Nix, he's gonna look at you.
Hmm.
Um,
Can I
And
tell
he's
him
like-
to help?
what am I doing?
We need to stop. They can't go out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Russ is going to just kind of like push himself upwards. Like looks at you, Nix, and goes, all right. And he is going to just start full speed sprinting forwards. Let's do all of our bullshit. Puts his soup bowl down. Begins
coming back with that
running
soup.
forward.
action.
The soup bowl, yeah. Object interaction, forget that. Bonus action, put soup down.
Oh god.
He is going to roll an intelligence check to see who is focused first. Okay. He is going to first look to Nana, who is running ahead of him. And this guy is actively catching up with you. He is not wearing his armor. He is now able to monk efficiently. He is like closing ground. She said, "Stop," and the word echoes through the air towards you, Nana.
Okay.
You're gonna probably be good at this, but the statement is still said.
Hmm.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
All right. I will make a wisdom saving throw. Ooh, dang. It is a 19.
Okay. Your speed is halved. Succeeding against this, your speed is now halved.
Ow.
And there is a fear that kind of clutches at you for a moment as Russ is like, she said stop. And you're like, she said stop. But you are able to push through that, but you are pulled to half speed.
Okay.
And then Russ is going to use his bonus action for Step of the Wind, and he is going to try and like get as close as he can to Roshan. So he is now just like bulldozing forward and is like, here I am, and is like kind of running underneath where this owl is currently.
Okay.
That's his turn. Fen, you're up.
Fen was already going to chase Nana, and I don't think he should have much trouble catching and,
Oh yeah, no, she's
gra-
slowed
and
down a bit.
grappling her now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna try to grapple?
Well, yeah, like now it's a panic.
Okay.
He was going to shout at her, but now everyone's freaking out. So,
Oh,
I guess maybe she slows down and he just slams into the back of her.
that would make sense 100%. She just like kind of slows down because of this thing from Rush. She's like, I didn't even hear. And then Fen is like, boosh, right into her back and she falls on her face.
Yeah, Fen was already at full speed. If you guys want that to be how that happens, I won't make anybody roll for it. It's just like, just
Honestly,
very slapstick bump.
I feel like that. I feel in my heart.
Yeah, so Fen's
That
just like
happens.
laying down on the ground next to her, like, what on earth are you thinking? You can't even see out there.
It's probably Rose, is what I was thinking. I didn't. Why are we waiting? What's going on?
Wait
That's
for
the end of your 6
everyone else.
seconds.
Yep.
Nix, you're up.
Yeah, you're 60 feet up, Roshan?
Yeah.
That's pretty far.
Caw.
No, it pulled something deep from inside me. You're 60 feet away?
Mm.
Well,
60,
Curious.
you say?
It's either you turn into a giant bird and chase the man, or you just throw a spell and attack him, and hope that he's no longer a bird.
Whatever you want to do.
Seems rude to attack my friend in front of my family.
If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
Wow.
She
Take an
chose-
inspiration. Take it. Whatever.
Hmm.
Whatever. Take it.
I'll be a giant eagle. It's faster than that bird.
I chose a faster bird.
Hell yeah.
You use your action to turn into a giant eagle. And see, now I can't say eagle right. It's
No.
ruined. All ruined forever.
Oh well.
An
I
eagle,
mean,
and you take off into the sky. It is your action. It is your action to change. And what is your movement?
I believe they have 80.
That sounds right.
Yeah, 80. I'm gonna get right in front of this owl.
Yeah, you get like in tango with this owl. So you're like,
Mhm.
I'm here now. It's the big bird off.
Caw!
A
Ooh.
big bird off.
The big bird off.
Ooh.
Nana, it's your turn. Roshan, you're on deck.
Well, Nana's prone and in pain and not sure why. Starts trying to pull herself up to her feet and Fen along with her. Will somebody tell me what's happening? I would have thought we'd be better off going after and Nix is a bird now.
There's just two huge birds in the sky.
Okay. Nana's gonna, I guess, follow Russ for lack of any other plan in place.
Okay. You at half speed
Yeah.
begin
just
to
like-
try and pursue Russ. You're like, I'm coming.
I'll help.
And after
I
being
just don't know what
prone,
needs to
you're
happen.
coming.
I'm coming.
Nana moves 3
That was
feet.
maybe like, yeah, about 5 feet this turn. Uh-huh.
Nana's on her way.
I'm getting there. Ooh, I'm
Roshan,
coming.
you are up.
Ooh.
Keld, you are on deck.
So Big Bird in front of Roshan, I think he instinctually pulls in his wings and then like drops just a few feet and then goes under her and close enough to opportunity attack if she wants.
I will.
You get the claw.
Yeah,
AC 12.
we'll see.
Kiss.
Never attacked as a bird before.
First time for everything.
They get a whole +5, guys.
Ooh.
Wahoo.
Wow,
Maybe
15.
Hot diggity dang.
Yeah.
Do that hit you, boy.
Of course.
You a bird. What is your AC? Like 4?
Yeah,
Well.
10
Ah.
piercing damage to your owl.
Nerd.
I don't know what owls' pain noises are, but Roshan makes one of those because that
Well,
hurt.
depends on the species.
Or fight.
And he flies off in the direction that he saw her fall, and so gets about 60 feet in that direction, and then is going to try and make a perception check to see
Sure.
if he can see where she fell.
Make a perception check using the owl's stats. Now, here's the question. Here's my question, inquiring minds. You, Roshan, have disadvantage on all skill checks, but you are currently in a different body using the skills, the modifiers of the owl. Do you think the owl has disadvantage or a straight roll if it has advantage on perception checks? I'm just curious your thoughts, because I could be swayed. Because this is a weird one.
It is. I usually think of it as it's the body that is exhausted, and this is a new body.
Okay. Make a perception check.
Okay.
I will take that reasoning because I'm not really
Um,
married to a particular one.
17.
Okay. Owls, even if it doesn't say it, have dark vision. It's canon.
They do.
Sometimes some animals they don't say have dark vision, and it's weird. But owl do. And does it say how far your dark vision is?
Only 120 feet.
Okay. You can see the tops of the trees. You can also see this kind of like rapidly kind of fading away lights in the sky. Like it's like they showed up to do something and then left. These lights
Yeah.
are done. You can see the expanse of the woods. And then you can't. It gets so dark at a point where it's like,
you said there was kind of like a tornado or like a funnel of the light where whatever was falling, right?
yeah, I think Nana saw that the most because of her survival check, but you can see that there is some difference in that spot. But once again, it is rapidly fading.
Okay. Well, Roshan's going to just continue in that direction. He doesn't have any more movement, but
You move that and begin continuing onwards. Keld, it is your turn.
I think Keld's going to get up as fast as he can at this point. Last person to get up.
Just a
He's
bunch
definitely-
of furbolgs get up in unison.
What's happening? He's gonna yell as loud as he can after Roshan. It's dangerous in there. You can't go alone. And I think just can I get a general idea of how far he's gotten at this point?
He's probably veering. How far do you think you are? Because you went up and then you went forward. I'm not a hypotenuse kind of bitch, but
So I would say Roshan is probably like 80 feet away. I think Keld was more toward the middle of the party and Roshan was kind of at the edge. So about 80 feet in one direction and then 60 feet up. I don't know. Maybe 100
yeah,
feet.
he's 80 to 100 feet away, you think, Keld. You don't have dark vision. It's kind of getting difficult.
Yeah. So I think that being the case, I'm going to look for what's his name?
The hot
The hot
iron.
iron who was helping out in the woods. Yeah, I'm gonna try to, I guess, ask for help.
You see that as members of the community go, he is one of the first people up. Kind of trying to take stock of the situation, sees that people are heading towards the woods, and you watch his eyes widen.
Yeah.
As he begins to shout, "Come back, don't go towards the woods, please," is just shouting as he begins to run forward. You can see that your parents are also starting to get up and kind of split, where your mother starts to be like, "Everybody, it's fine. Remain calm. We're figuring it out." And your father, not a young man, but he is starting to like make his way because he sees this bird that is Nix. You see that his eyes are focused that way, and that's where he is running, looking at Nix as he begins to make his way forward. The rest of the community, like a bunch of murmuring and maybe a bunch of other people being like come back, like maybe they can't hear us if we all yell together like a team as a community, maybe they'll hear. But the hot iron is beginning to make his way forward, and that is the community's turn. It is Russ's turn, who just is turning on retriever brain, just full dog brain. He runs and uses Step of the Wind so that he can once again get within vicinity underneath Roshan. He veers slightly and he kind of like jumps, which Step of the Wind enhances his jumps kind of like at the side of a building and then propels himself upwards. He uses his gem to cast Dispel Magic on Roshan as an owl and tries to clear as much distance as he can between them, which is not going to be too much. Step of the Wind's a bonus action. How much jumping you doing, bud?
I hate to be a stickler, but does he cast it at 4th level?
He'll roll for it.
Okay.
Or he will destroy the gem.
Oh, Jesus, no. Don't do it.
It was recently given modifications.
Oh. Yeah.
And he said it could accidentally get fucked up and he could say, dog brain, roll for it, dog brain. He jumps and this gem shatters in his hand immediately, just like cutting it to ribbons. his dispel magic item is gone. I have to mourn my own shit for a moment. Roshan, you're about 60 feet in the air and begin to plummet. Okay. Russ is going to try and do his damnedest to meet you, not very high in the sky, but is going to meet you. Roshan, just sort of if it's true, like brother, like sister, am I right? As Roshan falls from the fucking sky. He is going to roll acrobatics with disadvantage on trying to negate damage here. Okay. Roshan, you are spiraling through the night sky, topsy-turvy. And
Probably
you make
screaming.
just screaming as he spirals. You make weird sort of soft impact. And then you make aggressive hard impact with the ground, basically. Except it's not the ground, and you hear these snapping sounds as you make contact with Russ, and Russ hits the ground, and you feel his ribs snap as he makes contact. You are going to take half of the fall damage. He is going to take all of it. 60 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for being, well, I'll give him one more for being fucking bludgeoned. Roshan, Kalukale, you take 12 points of damage. Russ is going to take 24 plus 2d6. So from what your body adds to this. So 31. Russ lands poorly. He is not able to get this in a position where he can kind of roll a bit and take the hit. He hits hard and his ribs crack underneath you and he's down. He's just Urshad, you don't really feel him moving under you. You just hear the attempt to inhale. That's his whole turn. He has nothing else to do. Fen, it's your turn. I'll stay in initiative until I know what's going on.
If Fen will use half his movement to stand up from prone, and I don't know if he can reach them
Did
from
state
where
not a
he
healthy
is.
feet.
Yeah.
I would say because of prone, probably not.
No? Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, so he's going to try and make his way there as quickly as possible and
Okay.
assess who's hurt and then start doling out cure wounds
Okay.
with
on your next turn you could do that. You could
Okay.
certainly easily do that unless people move more.
Well, I don't think the target people are going to move. I think they're
Yes. We'll see.
grounded, as it were.
Nix, it's your turn. You watch Roshan turn into a person in front of you and then plummet and then squish your boyfriend. I'm sorry, husband.
I'm gonna be specific here. Well, I assume I can get there with my 80 feet of flying.
You just sort of land next to them very easily.
Yeah. It's only a bonus action to not be a bird anymore. And then I will healing word Russ. You can't go out there, Roshan. Let's see how much he heals. I'm doing him a 5th level one, so
nice.
He has a lot.
Yeah, let's use these spell slots, baby.
Yeah. So I can't go out there, guys. I don't have my good spell slots. So sorry.
Guys, hey, I don't have the spell slots to go to the fucking woods right now. Guys, my cool gem exploded. I hated you.
He gets 22 back.
Ooh, look at that. That's pretty good. The cuts on his hand start healing. They seem to heal a little slower because they were magically damaged. But you can hear like a rib go like snap back into place as those things begin to heal. You tell Roshan he cannot go into the woods. Anything else? That's basically your
That's
movement
it.
action. Yell at a guy.
Most importantly, yell at a guy.
Yeah, most importantly, yell at a guy. And Nana, you jogging?
Yeah,
Nana
as
is
fast
doing her
as
best.
I'm trying. I'm still bewildered and shaken up, and now people are on the ground. Russ is on the ground as well. He doesn't look like he's moving. She's trying. She's trying.
Just like starfish on the ground is kind of Russ's scenario. Nana's on the way.
no.
Roshan, your turn.
Roshan is having a bad time. I think he's pretty frantic at this point. His eyes are wet, his nose is running, and I think he says, "That's her. She fell from the sky. I need to go get her now." And then looks that way but doesn't gets himself up, but will stay around for this turn, but is definite flight risk.
Okay. Keld, it's your turn.
I think I'm gonna spend my action trying to catch up with him.
Okay. You dash to get as close as you can. Let me mark that off.
With her sad
Full
ass.
Keld is starting to catch up to Nana. Nana's like, what the fuck? What's happening?
really off my game now.
And the hot iron and the grand pot are also dashing to get into this space. For a moment, I am taking us out of initiative. If there's people start to come up on the scene, Nix, you are the most on the scene at this time. If there's anything else you want to say, but Fen, then followed by Nana, followed by everybody else in this scenario, will be on you in a handful of seconds.
I think she'd just grab his arm. You need to know it's out there before anyone even thinks about it.
Nix, she's out there alone.
You at least try to message her. I could try to scry on her. We can't. I'm not going out there.
And at that point, everybody else begins to make their way onto the scene. Russ kind of like rolls onto his side. Is like,
Is everybody okay?
Yeah, so Fen
puts
kind of like skids up like he was running full speed and like passes Roshan a little bit. Now he's standing between Roshan and the woods. He's got like 2 sets of bolas in his hand for some reason. And he's just like puts his hands on Roshan's chest. He's like, at least
Roshan
someone
does not let you touch him. He's not here for that.
at least let someone go with you.
Fine.
If
at
nothing
that
else,
point, Nana, you're on the scene. At nothing else, all the furbolgs are also now on the scene.
Yeah. If nothing else, let's just try it. Let's listen to the people who live here. They know these woods, all right? If there's anything that we need to be aware of before we're on our way, what good are we to Rose if we're dead on the way there? Roshan.
Then let them talk, Nana, because I need to leave right fucking now. She is alone out there and she doesn't know. So please tell me what I need to know so I can leave.
The grandpot raises his hand. You see he's breathing heavy, but he is still kind of like keeping up a demeanor of calm, like, You have to steady yourself in this moment if you wish to move with alacrity, is the energy this man exudes. Someone is in the woods. I hear that. I understand that. You wish to help someone, you wish to save someone. And a dead savior is not a savior. It's barely a martyr. You can look into her, right? You said scry.
Yeah, I can
Nix can.
try.
We
I think
need to
Roshan
check.
starts huffing and says, "There's not enough time to scry. If it's as dangerous as you say, then she's all alone out there."
Is she a 10-minute jog from here?
I don't know.
We don't know where she is. Let us help locate her. And then we can make a plan. But running out there is a death wish. A death wish which I will not allow anyone in my community to follow. Let's do this the right way, if needs must. People do not enter these woods, not at night.
I think Roshan turns toward the woods and is fully frustrated, crying.
Nana wants to go over and attempt to offer some comfort. She knows he's prickly right now, but she wants to be there.
He probably gives the cold shoulder and stares at the woods, aware enough to be embarrassed that he's crying.
Nana just kind of offers him her kerchief quietly. It's all right. We're gonna get her. All right? We're gonna get her. Just wait.
Is anyone doing any sort of magics to attempt to communicate or hone in on with Rose?
I'll scry. Pull out this pot.
Anybody else? Anything else?
I don't have anything.
I think it will take Roshan a good handful of seconds to calm down enough, but he will try sending.
Okay. What do you say?
He asks, "Rose, is that you? Are you okay?" And then sends that without waiting to finish 25 words.
Okay. You are met with what sounds like coherent words for the first time. They are not unaltered, but it is the first time like actual words are making it through without you having to expend energy to try and alter them in some way to make them I like it, these legible. So we're going with legible. Readable, you know.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like listening to something in sort of like an echoey cave where you're like putting your hands on your ears over and over again. That's how it sounds, is this sort of like echoed, choppy thing where parts of it are cut out. What? Where? Where? Why? And you can hear like a thought, like something moves across the mind as this choppy sound kind of makes its way across. Revenge, and this word just kind of like cuts. Brutal, Ro. I'll get myself out in the morning. I'll just bed down and wait. And this cuts. She stops. This is her stopping. There is no response after that. The talking stops a bit abruptly.
I think Roshan like yelps as it is abruptly cut off, and he says to whoever is close enough to hear, "It's her. She's out there.
It is her.
She's not safe."
Can she
Can you
throw up
please
some
go?
sort of sparks or flare or something? Does she have any magic of that nature to help us gauge her distance?
I don't know. I'll ask, but can we please go? She
Try and
won't
find
make
out
it
where
out of
she
there
is.
alive.
No,
We've
pass
figured
without
out it's
trace.
her. We figured out that it's her. Let's find out where she is. All right? Hold on. Just a second. We need intel, then we move.
You
Okay.
can see that the Grand Pot and the Hot Iron have started like slowly kind of making their way to be like we are all you're gonna have to run past us. Not hard to do, but you will have to run past us if you start running. They kind of go stand in this position and are kind of like in holding. Like, we're still figuring things out. We were allowed that much. Nix is still casting Scry. Roshan, are you sending another message?
Yeah, he's going to send a message and say, "We are coming to get you. Stay safe. In about 20 seconds, can you send up some magic, something colorful? That way I can find you." And after that, Roshan will cast polymorph on himself again and fly straight up, but not move toward the woods.
Okay.
Would Finn be able to, like, get on his back?
No.
I don't think he was waiting for you. I'm going to go with no in this scenario because all these things are kind of happening at once. It's you talking to Nana, and then it's like, woof, and you're like, Jesus.
That bird is too big.
That bird, too big. Okay. You can see that like the Grand Pot sort of like moves in now. He's like, there's nothing I can do about a giant bird. I cannot pursue a giant bird. I need you all to hear me. I need you to truly hear me in this moment. If any of you go into the woods at night, you are not making it back. There is no outlet of safety. There is no warmth. There is only death in those woods at night. I am begging you. Do not make my children follow you into those woods.
Would never ask anybody to follow us into anywhere for any reason, for any danger, for anything. But this is. She's one of ours. She's been gone a long time. And this is the first we've seen any sign of her in.
And she can be found in the morning.
Will
Are
she
you
make it that
sure?
morning? We're not allowed to step
It's
foot.
that dangerous out there and she'll be okay?
If she's smart, she'll stay somewhere.
Roshan,
No.
as a large bird in the sky, you receive a response to the message. And it is much more hushed. It is a quiet response. I can't do shit. I'm getting comfortable. I'm not showing you where I am. Not after this. That is the response given to the owl in the sky.
Luckily, the owl can understand common.
Well,
Uh,
that works out.
Jeanette?
Hoot, hoot. Oh, shit.
Oh. Oh no. Done plum
Um,
forgot.
I think Roshan then spends the rest of his time like flying back and forth over the edge of the forest, looking for any sign of her, but obviously that's not going to.
There's
He
no
doesn't
need
have-
to roll.
Yeah.
It is looking out as if you're looking out at the ocean. You are staring into a sea of black. As the canopies further and further back knit closer and closer together. It's sort of like you are on the safety of the beach. This is your boat. That is the sea. Meanwhile, everybody on the ground, you can see that the hot iron is like now focused up on the bird. Like, once again, what am I going to do about the big bird in the sky? I can't stop it, but I can at least watch it. So he's kind of focused in on the bird. The grandpa sort of like has his hands up. It's just this look of pleading on his face. If you go into those woods unprepared, if you go at night, it'll be all of your corpses. If this person is smart on her own, maybe she is able to lay low, maybe she is in the correct parts of the woods and can find some sort of safety, but marching in the middle of the night will be your death. And that is not a folklore warning, that is not a fear of you running into wolves, it is a fear of you running into the dark, the embodiment of it. You can't beat that. You can just lean into it, relax. But if you go in guns blazing in the middle of the night, none of you are coming back.
And it'll all be gone by morning.
When the morning comes, you will have pockets of safety. There's an extent how far out you can go into the woods before it becomes dangerous, but at night, all of it is. During the day, you have a wider berth of safety, and then the places where the light shines through the canopy. Those are safe. And there's less of her. There's less of the darkness.
Specifically?
The lurk. The psalm lurk. You told them, right? And like he looks to you two. He looks to Keld and Nix.
Did they?
A bit, yes.
I mean, a little. Like it was in
I was
connection
hoping
with
to tell you
some
more
like folklore
tonight.
stuff. Well, perhaps tonight's a good night to hear about it anyway. Once
If
we
we can
got
get
everybody
Roshan
together.
back down.
I can't shout up loud enough for him to hear me over the wind up there, I don't think.
Your friend
can
is
try.
in an emotional state, which we are all very, very aware of. If your friend makes their way into the woods, you are going to be split.
Anybody get me a message to him?
Roshan's the one with message.
Alright. Okay.
He
Nana's
hasn't
gonna
gone
start-
too far, though.
Nana's
how
gonna
high
start
is he?
looking for a tree so that she can start climbing so that she can yell at this idiot.
About how high is he?
He's probably
He's
about
probably about 100 feet high.
Right.
Nana's gonna start
Nana.
looking for a tree. What?
I think he might just need a minute.
Alright. I'll give him a bit.
I don't think he needs any more pressure.
okay. The owl paces. After jumping into the sky, does the owl wait another 5 minutes? Because we got about through 5 minutes before going back into the air for this scry to take place.
Yeah, there. Roshan doesn't leave. So
Okay. Nix. You are, we'll say you're familiar. It's the same person, basically. That takes 5 off of their roll.
Yeah. So you need 25.
Okay. Nix, you are trying to will your magic to move faster. You know that the clock is ticking, but magic takes its time as it sees fit. 10 minutes passes, and you are moving up the stream, a familiar stream. This is home. You are moving through the water here, upstream, against the current. And you are in the dark of the wood. It is a shocking thing to be almost immediately submerged in the near pitch black as you are now in the forest. You are looking at a figure fully engulfed in it, somebody moving in the darkness. Without your dark vision, it is a difficult thing to get a lot of details on. You cannot make out any of the surroundings. You can just tell you are in the deep and thick of it. You cannot get enough detail to identify a tree in this scenario. You see that this figure is hunched over and close to the ground and seems to be like hastily shoveling their fingers through the snow. You can see that they are draped in what looks like a nice dark hooded cloak. Luckily, this person at least has that on. You see, though, that she does not have gloves and is just digging through the snow with bare hands. She does not look dressed for winter travel. You watch eventually the hands stop and then kind of dig into the earth and pull up what looks like a piece of glass, maybe a piece of colored glass. And you see that she pulls a necklace out from under her shirt and is holding it in the other hand. This piece of glass she tries to place into the fractured necklace's cabochon and is just trying to put this piece back together. And you watch magic like flash and smoke go up into her face, and she coughs and like tries to like hold the necklace away from her face. And you hear fuck, and she kind of coughs out this smoke again, trying to hold the necklace away from herself. And the fuck is a little loud. And you watch her realize that and immediately like clasps a hand over her mouth and sits for a moment, listening. And then after a couple minutes, she kind of like relaxes into the space and begins to take stock of herself. You see that she does not have a travel pack. She takes note that she has a dagger with her. She is not wearing armor. You can hear her breath shaky. She resets the cananular brooch on her cloak and then pulls it aggressively around her body and like pulls it in close. And you see she begins to trek forward slowly. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
That's 27.
Okay. She walks forward slowly, cautiously. She's not waiting for anything. She's moving. It's not fear. It's not like a terrible fear that has gripped her in this moment. She almost looks more angry, but it is that caution that sort of takes the forefront. This is somebody searching for somewhere to hunker down. This is somebody looking for somewhere to take camp for the night in the crook of a tree and wait for morning. This is somebody who seems to understand the woods and is respecting it as best they can and is looking for shelter. This is not somebody who is marching around. They do not shoot up any flares of any kind. They do not speak again. They just move slowly through the woods, carefully, stopping occasionally and listening, and then moving. And you are pulled from this vision. And that's where we're going to take our break. Thank you guys for being here. Why don't you go get a snack and a drink, and we'll be back in 10 minutes.
Thank you, 10.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dice Call. We just took our 10-minute break. The party is ruining a party. It is Grilly's pot mitzvah, and Rose fell from the sky at the vague request of a wish. And
Well, not
Roshan,
vague request.
okay, if you say so. I would love her to safely arrive late afternoon in Dem Woods, was the request.
I don't. Well, close enough, but I don't think she did any of those things.
This owl is looking out at the beautiful expanse of Dem Woods. And she seemed to not die on impact. So you're welcome. The
That
universe
was a very
says, you're
lawyerly
welcome.
reading of safe.
Safe. The arrival was very safe.
To her, she arrives
Okay.
is up to her.
Yeah.
This
and
is how wish
afterwards,
logic
the spell has no more power. It's like,
Wish
I got you
logic
here safe.
equals
You're welcome.
Faye rules lawyer logic.
But that's neither here nor there because it is here and there is no changing that.
Nope.
But currently the party is a bit at odds with the knowledgeable members of the community and the emotional needs of party members being a bit skewed and opposite. The people in the community informing you that it's no ifs, ands, or buts. It is death in those woods. If all of you go marching in full speed, you're going to die in the woods. And the heartfelt plea of, please don't make my children follow you into the woods. Because even though you say you won't make them, Nana, you know that at least one of them will probably follow you in. And if one of them goes in, probably both of them go in.
Yeah.
So this man is making a plea for his children's safety at this moment. Roshan is currently circling in the sky as this owl. No way at this point to now like pinpoint Rose's location. And she was no help in that matter, seemingly upset about the situation and providing no help. And taking into her own hands her own safety and seems to be looking for somewhere to just bunker down until morning, which is what she said. That she just has to make it till morning and she can figure it out. Which is what Nix witnesses, is a woman who was not prepared to come into the woods, but has a knife and is actively walking forwards in it, looking for a nice place to find shelter. And that's where we are. Nix, you pull away from the scry pot. What are we doing?
She just kind of looks up at Roshan because there's no reason to share everything when he's not here. Kind of waits for him to decide he's going to come down.
I think Roshan is up in the sky for probably 40 to 45 minutes before he decides to touch back down.
Okay. Or do you guys wait for Roshan for this time and wait for him to come down, or?
I mean, Nana's not sitting idle. She's checking in on the party members and especially on poor Russ with his fucking shredded hand and his poor fucking broken ribs. And
you can see that like he was healed a good bit.
Yeah,
just kind of like sort of gives like a thumbs up.
Mhm.
And you can see occasionally like he'll look at the woods and kind of like peel his eyes away. Like
Yeah.
it's, if anybody does like stare into the woods as rangers, I'll just say this, as rangers, this is a different thing than you were just walking in. It is as if a new forest has just landed in front of you. Same trees, different forest.
Seen anything like this? Not once.
He needs to come down. He needs to rest tonight.
Nix, did you see her?
Yeah. She's mad. but she's fine.
That's a relief, I guess.
Wasn't running around or doing anything that would make it notice her. So probably the
sudden
best case scenario.
Did you tell how far she was?
Not in a good spot, but
Are these woods really worse at night than the orchard was?
I mean, can you feel this, Fan? Does this feel like the woods to you? Does this feel like the orchard to you? Does this feel like home? Or even the valley to you?
The orchard didn't feel like home either, but we survived it. Well, mostly, for the most part, almost until the end.
Just look at this. Just feel this for a second. Honestly.
This is a different darkness.
The
Does-
grandpa steps forward. You say you have knowledge of the Forest of Eden, that you have knowledge of the valley. This is not. They are not cut from the same cloth. This is
It's
not
nothing-
corruption you're looking at.
Then what
This
is
is
it?
the will of the darkness. This is the will of the fear that encompasses every tiny unknown corner of the wood, personified and manifest in that space.
Can Fen gain any sort of extra insight staring off into Dem Woods with his super duper dark vision?
Wah. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Elf eyes, you know. Look,
What do your
with
elf
your
eyes
special
see?
eyes.
Dark. They're trees.
Real
That's-
dark.
It's a 30.
A
Okay.
30.
What?
Hot damn.
You are able to at least come to terms with some information you are given that there is part of the wood, and from the expanse you can see pretty sparse, pretty normal, pretty much the woods. But you can see like where the darkness starts, and then way past that, it's almost a feeling that it becomes something darker and more terrible. And there's a little part of your brain that's like, don't look at it. Don't look there. And it's like almost like a childlike fear that kind of creeps in for a moment, but you are
You
able
can't
to
see
keep
me
at
if I
bay.
can't see it.
Yeah. Almost a fear of if I go under the blanket, I'll be safe. But the darkness in that space inspires this fear. And Roshan lands.
Yeah, I think Roshan lands away from people, and as soon as he touches ground, he drops the polymorph, and he screams as loud as anyone's ever heard, because I don't think he recognizes that he's using magic, but thaumaturgy creeps in, and it's really loud and truncated by him falling to his knees by a tree and barfing. What
Go
little
over and help to
hot
hold his hair
stew,
back.
and I think
No
he
getting your hair in that, bud. Come on.
punches a tree until his knuckles are bloody,
Mm-hmm.
feeling helpless.
After the scream during this, the hot iron has pulled out steel and is now beginning to walk the perimeter. It seems that made him feel very unsafe with the loud noise in the vicinity. So he's now walking the perimeter. And you can see that bunch of archers up there also see that the hot iron is doing things, and they all kind of like perk back up. They were all just kind of quietly watching this. And now they're like, we're and kind of go back to focusing on the tree line, kind of looking away from you guys where you are, and then back into the forest. The grandpa sort of squeezes Keld's shoulder. Should I give you and your friends time? I'll tell them everything I know if they want. But I don't wish to spoil Grilly's day anymore. And I'd like to talk inside because it is a bit cold.
I would like that too. I think they need to hear it.
All right. I'm going to go check on your mother. Though I'm sure she could have handled both issues quite well. And he straightens up and makes a much slower walk back to the group than he originally, like the full best sprint he could do towards you guys. He walks at a brisk pace back to the community, who's like been kind of quiet and kind of watching from a distance. But Roshan is going through it. What are we doing?
Anna kind of just standing by, doing what she can to help Roshan get through it. What else can she do?
I think Fenn's probably staring into the woods in that sort of, like, I don't know, like the thing you don't want to look at, but you have to, like looking at a car wreck, kind of can't look away, sort of. Like, he's probably aware to some degree of what Roshan's going through off in his peripheries, but he's kind of fixated now. Somebody's probably going to have to, like, fetch him when it's time to head back to the village.
And what an intoxicating view it is, Fen. You can stand at the edge of this town and feel the purest fear you have ever felt. It's nostalgic almost.
Like drinking from a bowl in the valley.
Concentrated fear placed upon the entirety of the woods. How long do we stay in this space?
I think for a couple minutes, Roshan sobs and stares off into the woods, and it is that fear looking at the darkness of it that finally quiets him down, and then he just stares, expecting something else to happen at the woods.
Keld, were you doing something?
Yeah, I think this time while we're all sort of staring into our own corner of the woods, Keld sort of wanted to see if I could, like, make a roll to compare looking into these woods as the fountain from the party.
Okay. Give me a wisdom check.
$23.
Ooh. Keld, you have memories of going into the woods. You know that there's a distance you are allowed to go during the day. And you've seen how the woods begins to twist in on itself the further you go. But there is a safe spot. There is a beautiful spot, and you know that that spot is dead when the sun sets. And that's what you've always been told. And you try to look into this space and compare. And there's something so incredibly familiar staring into the abyss, and it's something you could have done every night of your life. You lived here for years and years and years. There is an unsettling feeling, one that you're accustomed to, though it does seem more prominent. It does, and you can see that your companions are picking up on it as well, and in your mind, it was more nuanced. And this is so palpable. The fear this thing radiates. There is similarity in the fear that those two things brought to you. That is where it begins to cross in your mind, is fear.
Interesting.
Yep. So everybody's staring into the darkness. Does anybody go?
Well-
Boys, or everyone's like, all right, lace your shoes, let's go. You've all been staring into it. Lead the way.
I don't think Nix was staring into those woods at
No.
all.
No,
No,
I believe that.
I do think that there comes a point eventually where Nana kind of like draws, like, takes her cloak off her shoulders and puts them around Roshan's and says, "Let's have a seat. Let's put some drink down our throats. And let's figure out our plan of attack for the morning. Will be no use to her if we're strung out and exhausted."
You guys need to hear everything. That way we can actually be prepared tomorrow.
I think Roshan just kind of idly nods, transfixed on the forest sill.
Nana will kind of like gently kind of hook her arm in at his elbow, and sort of just give a gentle tug back towards the community. "Come on, let's have a seat."
Maybe we should just take them to the house so that they don't look at the woods anymore, Keld.
Yeah.
We could bring
I'm
food
gonna
in.
start urging people in.
Yeah.
Might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Nana will take their lead. Wherever they think is a good place for us to go, Nana will absolutely kind of gingerly nudge Roshan in that direction. She's kind of got an eye around to try and see where Fen is. And if she does spot him before Keld or Nix will, she'll point him out.
Before Fen is, or while he's being peeled off to go back to the village, he's gonna succeed his own self-imposed wisdom throw. He has plucked one of the pearls off of his armor, and he's thinking about flicking it into the woods, but he's just gonna put it into his pocket instead, and walk back with everybody else.
Good job, bud. Good
I don't know if
call.
anybody else saw that. Like, it just the little
Yeah.
thing that he did.
It was probably just fiddling. There's a lot to focus on. But Keld and Nix, you kind of are able to corral the group fully and begin taking them back through Grilly's pot mitzvah, where everyone like tries to like be polite and like not stare at you all as you approach. It seems like they're all like, what's the polite thing to do? Do we ask about what happened, or do we just let them walk by? And it seems like a lot of people aim for, we're just gonna let them walk by. Keld and Nix are with them, and
I think I'm
If,
gonna steer us back towards our little house.
okay.
Nana gives like a little apologetic wave as they go. Really didn't mean to upset the party. Especially not poor
Roshan
Grilly.
will turn bright red at the stairs, and then on the way back, turn himself invisible.
Oh, buddy. Is he still on Nana's arm?
Yeah, he hasn't left.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
The cloak just floating there beside her.
The cloak goes invisible too.
The
He's
cloak
very
was
dead.
on his
Count as a
person.
carried item. But
Let's
you all
split
make your
these
way
hairs.
they said take them to the house. Roshan, you recognize this is the place that you were peeling potatoes, this home that had what looks like a newer extension added to it. It's not a super new extension, but it is newer than the rest of the home. You are able to bring everybody inside to like a warm, sort of close-knit energy of knickknacks and furs and woven blankets and wood carvings and comfortable furniture. All of it a tapestry of different energies, of different aesthetics, as if everything was gifted or somebody's interpretation of something. There is cohesion in the sense that everything here was probably made by somebody in the community. And it all fits into this little home. You are led into the space where, for ease, you can see what looks like a newer door leading to the newer extension. Nix, for ease, could you just tell me what your room looks like? So if we venture in,
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure the door is fully open. I don't
Yeah.
think your parents closed doors.
Probably not closed ever. It's been open for way too long now.
It's been open for a hot minute.
Uh,
And if your
I-
room was untouched, how would it look?
Oof. If they haven't gone in there, then I'm assuming there's just a lot of different jars filled with odd things that she collected, along with plants that are probably now very dead. But that's okay, because that happens.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. That's mostly everything that's in there. It's just this collection.
She be
And-
collecting.
She be collecting. Keld, if your room was left untouched, what would it look like?
Probably less ominous. Probably more just well, there's probably like some random things like plants that are like ingredient like plants and stuff, and just comfy pillows and yeah.
Opposite.
Pretty simple. He's not much of a
Yeah,
I don't see
not
him
much.
collecting much.
Mm-hmm. Are you setting everybody up in the living room and existing in that space?
Yeah. He'll
Probably
bring out
starting up some
some
tea.
pillows and stuff if needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Keld and Nix get to work because you see Nix is about to start making tea, so you immediately
no,
step in and
no,
like,
no,
we're
no.
making tea.
Yeah. This is for everyone's
Roshan
well-being.
would position himself so that he can see out a window if there are any available to the whatever way. It was north, right?
Sure. Yes, it is north. I'm like, sure. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Sure,
The northern lights and to the north. Haha.
You're
I'll
able
put in a
to
shutter for
get a
him.
window and you can see a little bit because this home is a bit more towards the center of town, but like you are able to look in that direction and have some eyes on it. Nothing efficient, nothing useful, but you are able to look in that direction. Is there anything you guys do besides kind of wait and drink tea and eat whatever snack is brought out, waiting for somebody to join you, or is there something you guys do?
I think Keld would instigate a discussion about what Nick saw scrying, if that hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'd reiterate what I saw. Probably wouldn't mention that she was not prepared to be outdoors, so that Roshan doesn't worry more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
She was determined.
she looked like she knew what she was doing out there.
Fenn's been trying to like make himself useful since they left the party. And now he's just kind of like sitting trying to occupy himself by not fidgeting. Just waiting for the discussion we need to have and just trying to breathe and be steady, but probably failing at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. Think
And
yeah. I mean, Nana is sort of going back and forth between Fenn's state and also kind of like just compulsively getting up and checking and seeing if people have enough tea, if people have enough like snacks on hand, like including Nix and Keld, which is, it doesn't make sense. She doesn't know where anything is. She doesn't know why she keeps offering to get people things, but you know.
Can I clock Finn's unease?
I think the unease of the group is palpable for anybody who wants to feel
Perfect.
anyone else's unease.
We are all vibing on the unease train.
A lot
Well,
of you
then-
looked into the depths of that woods, and
Mhm.
it's almost like you could be like, oh, same
It
hat,
looks
same
back
hat.
into
Like
us.
it's
Yeah.
like you can tell when somebody was looking at the woods
Yeah.
a little too
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I can see, I guess, Kel can probably see the fidgetiness that Finn's trying to push down, so he's going to like reach into a drawer in the kitchen and pull out a worry stone, hand it to Finn. This is my mom's.
Aw.
Oh, she does she need it? Can I take it to her? Is that
No, you can have it. You can hold on to it.
oh, I have
It's really nice to.
I've got this, and then takes the little teardrop that Corrine gave him.
Mm,
And I was just thank you, and he'll put that back in his pocket, and he'll take the stone from Keld. What's meant to be done with it?
I just find it comforting.
And just
Maybe
kinda
you will
hold
too.
it.
Okay. Fen will hold the stone. I'm not sure if he takes any comfort from a stone, but I think it's just probably he doesn't have the nostalgic kind of personal sentimental attachment to it, but he
Yeah.
appreciates that Keld is making a kind gesture, and he's going to play along.
You
Thank
ever
you.
sit there robotically rubbing a worry stone? Ah, yes. Comfort.
Yes.
Um,
Feel better. Yeah.
Kind of sounds like we sit in mostly stoic silence, besides the occasional ask or side conversation or look for tea or snack or vibe.
Nothing major at this juncture. I think we're all a little bit keyed up for that.
But about 25-30 minutes pass, and you hear the approach of feet, and the front door opens after a gentle knock. The grandpot and the ladle knock before entering their own home, knowing
Oh.
that you all are in there.
God love them.
And step into the space, and she kind of closes the door behind her. Sorry it took so long. We had to wrap everything up.
It was. I'm very sorry for Grilly. Did not.
She is a resilient young woman. And it'll be an interesting story she can tell at everyone else's pot mitzvahs.
True. I don't think anybody else will have ever had a pot mitzvah where somebody fell out of an aurora borealis.
A lot of people fell out of the sky today. A lot of big birds.
True.
And you
It's
can
true.
see that they also, it's not like they are perfectly equipped and prepared for like the energy of this space. Like you can see that they're like, ooh, like they walked into this energy.
Yeah.
And kind of like take a moment to like get acclimated with the space.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of take chairs from the dining room, and they are going to pull up seats to kind of complete the circle of the living room. And they wait.
Why is it different? Why are these woods different than any of the other nightmares that we've traveled through? Snuck through, fought our way through, whatever we needed to do. Why these woods?
You watch the grandpot and the ladle like take each other's hands and support each other through this moment, and the grandpot takes over speaking. Well, to encompass everything, recently things have gotten worse. On two fronts, I suppose. One of those being corruption. That's why we have hired the mercenaries. They're good people, and they keep us safe. Not too many big things come stomping around, but they've stopped what has, and we are grateful for that. And we would never ask them to take a step further into that woods. What has been in that space is older than all of us, is a story that has transcended generation, has been story told and told again to child, to child, to child. Something lives in those woods. Something physical, something that is manifest. And that same something, whatever it is, the embodiment of the fear that the unknown presents in the woods. It is made material, and it is made a miasma that covers the place. And that has also recently gotten worse. About a year ago, it got a bit worse.
I assume you've lost people.
It's been quite some time. We take every precaution. We know that the woods is unforgiving. Well, the woods is forgiving. Whatever inhabits it is not. Whatever is filling in the gaps between the trees is not. That does as it will.
Finn's listening to the ladle and the grandpot, but his eyes are darting back and forth between Nix and Keld. Just wondering, and not asking, but wondering why none of this was mentioned.
Well, wasn't stated. So
Well, just they could probably pick up on the fact that he's staring at them.
Fen, roll intelligence for me. I can't hear you.
Oh, that's a 6.
Reroll
Okay,
that. Reroll it.
Hey, reroll!
Wow.
Wow, look at
That's a
that.
natural 20.
Whoa.
Wow.
Good investment.
Big
Thank
brain.
you.
You're looking at them like, why wouldn't they tell me about this? Why wouldn't they tell us about this? This seems important. And you remember a conversation around a campfire where Keld began to tell you of a story from his home, where he told you of a monster that dwelled in the woods. And you changed the topic to the matron. And you're like, oh. But in that moment, it was presented, at least in your mind, like a folktale, like a campfire story. But you are seeing that it is manifest. But you have a moment where your brain kind of goes back and you're like, oh, and you chimed in with your own childhood story of some ethereal being. And you're like, they were telling me also about something real. You're like, oh. So you can put that in your pocket and take as you will. The grand pot and the ladle kind of look over the group. We would prefer that you do not venture into the wood, sun up or not, but I know that that is not a request I can make. But it is so much safer to make your way in during the day and hopefully get out before sunset. It is not without risk, but there is a chance.
Fen and I are rangers. We're accustomed to taking stock of new territory. If you can tell us what to look out for, what we should know, I think that we can help. I think we can make it through.
Of course. I think you will, if you do make your way into the wood, there is, as rangers, you will know when you are someplace else. And then you will be relying on a new instinct instead of an old one. And you see that he keeps looking, he also is looking back to Nix and Keld. They seem to keep drawing his focus as he looks at them. I would prefer to avoid any harm. And this includes this young woman who fell from the sky. I would want to see her safe. But I also would like to see all of you return.
Too many people have sacrificed too much and sacrificed things that weren't even theirs to give for us to stop it now. We need to bring her back.
I won't stop you. I would ask my children not to venture into the wood, and his eyes focus on Keld.
Hmm. We need to find Rose.
Keld, you and Nix, you're very kind. You are kind to offer, genuinely. But genuinely also, if this is as dangerous as it actually is, and Nix especially with everything that's been going on, I can't conscionably ask either of you to go. I will go with Roshan, I will go with Fen. We've worked together, we know one another, we can watch each other's backs. You two should not risk yourselves.
I have faith that we can do this together.
We're gonna
I
have
think
to go
we
out
can
there
locate her.
anyway.
The ladle leans forward. What do you mean?
We have to go out there for the water crimson for Calendula.
Oh, yes.
And
I get relayed to anybody outside of y'all
Nope.
at any point.
Nope, that's new
The
for
what?
y'all.
The what about the...
I figured we'd do
what?
that later, but yeah. Have you heard of it?
You see that your mom is not registering what water crimson is.
some kind of plant we're supposed to get.
It's in the water. It's I'll try to
No.
describe it like Calendula described it.
We're not supposed to touch it with our hands, so we gotta collect it with jars.
There is no plant worth gathering past the threshold. If that is your reason for going into the wood, I would say that is folly.
Mm.
Possibly for this too, kind of just gesturing at her arm. Maybe.
Why would you do? And you can see your father tightens his grip on the ladle's hand. Oh, no. 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 And she looks at her husband like, please repeat after me. And he looks at her. And she sort of straightens back up and sort of kind of clears her throat and like looks away a little bit.
Can Keld gather what that reaction was about?
You think that they are both able to pick up on why Nix would want to go into the woods and what could possibly be gained from that? You discussed many ways to deal with this curse. And one of them is in the woods.
Our last one.
Your only one.
Mhm.
And you see that your mother is realizing that full time. And kind of does like now has like a hand to her mouth and is like trying to remain composed. But Keld, you can see your father's looking at you. And it's like he's waiting.
Yeah. Who needs discretion? I think Keld will engage with him.
Guys, cover your ear. Guys, go take a walk.
I've already talked to
Okay.
most of us about this,
Can
so.
we go get some
Yeah.
soup, actually? Wow.
Anybody
Guys, could you go
hungry?
get me some soup? That'd be great.
This is a family matter now, actually.
Mm-hmm. Can do that.
I do have a question about what's out there. So I think that darkness found me somehow, and it showed me something. Dad, what am I not supposed to know?
He stares at you. And you just hear the choked sound in your mother's throat as she tries to maintain, just like holds down this sob that wants to break its way out. And he does not break eye contact with you. I would never want to keep this from you. So I won't. And he kind of puts his arm around and like kind of rubs his wife's back. You were a curious child. Bold. On your fifth winter, you were playing with some other children, and you wandered, and he kind of points towards the little lake. It was frozen over, and you were so bold. You fell through, and we did everything we could. You lived, but you were getting worse and worse. You were racked with cough and fever, and you were in pain, and you were delirious. And we couldn't lose you. And there was only, and he kind of looks at Nix. There was one option. The Somler. The thing of lore and legend. The lurk of the brushwood. The thing that lies beyond the threshold. The embodiment of the woods and all it encompasses. There were stories that you could strike deals. That this was a thing of fair trade. It was... The stories of this thing were of horridness. It was the only hope we had. So the good Greater and I, with you on my back, made our way into the brushwood. It was a 3-day journey, but the Greater and I aren't incredibly experienced, woodsmen in that regard, and then the wood changes so drastically. There was something wrong with that place. It was a corpse. It was a bitter, blackened heart at the center of this forest. We found it. We met with the thing, the woods, the lurk, whatever you want to call it. I pled with it. I pled with voices and eyes staring from the darkness. Its home is some twisted mess of branches splayed over streams. I asked for help in saving you. I told her I would give her anything I had to see you live. And the lurk regarded me as trivial, yet worthy enough to be heard. I felt as if I was a child who had wandered into a jarl's room and was putting on a show for something bigger and greater than myself, being regarded as small in the middle of a space that was not mine. And once I finished, it agreed to help. The lurk would save you. And I was confused. I asked what I owed in return. And all she said was, "He is enough." I don't know what she meant, but I agreed to it. And you were better. You were healthy and you were strong. And we live every day in fear of what those words meant. We forbade you from wandering too far. Told you stories of the monsters in the woods because they are real. That's why we were so accommodating when you wanted to leave. We wanted you to get away from... I wanted to keep you safe, but keeping you informed is the only way to do that. I see that. I hope you will forgive us for our choices.
Of course I do.
And your mother is like very softly weeping. This does not seem like a new story to her, something that she's also been keeping and holding on to. In my plea, I mentioned your pain and your delirium. And I asked you forget that. because I didn't want you to remember suffering.
Mm.
And you didn't remember your birthday. And I am sorry for that.
Well, I have had plenty since, so I'm gonna hug them both.
They fall into you and hold you tightly. They are terrified to let you go into the woods. And now you know exactly why.
I think Keld is processing that, but the thing I think that scares him more is what's happening to Nick, so he's kind of glancing over at her.
She's just kind of avoiding eye contact and staring at the floor.
The ladle wipes her eyes. I wish we could give you a story of clarification, Nix. I wish we could provide something like that for you. To us, you were a gift from the woods. And we know that what lurks in the brushwood can be kind. And maybe it will continue to show kindness to our family. For it did rally when you left. The woods, this feeling became more palpable when you were gone.
Mm.
Like fingers reaching out from the darkness looking for something. But it leaves us be to an extent. I suppose it's not looking for us.
And we're gonna have to push it back.
Your
Most
father
certainly will.
composes himself as best he can. I will give you all the information that I can to aid in your journey forwards. It was a long time ago, and we were not taking notes. But the lurk is not the only thing in those woods. And I will provide as much information as I can to prepare you to know what you are going against.
Thank you.
Of course. If you give us till sunrise, we can provide more assistance. Supplies. Information. I cannot send anyone else with you. But if you give us that time, we can make your journey as safe as possible. For if you must go in, I advise trying to only go in once.
Yeah. And it's not like Rose will be up and about and active before sunrise, and things are safer to move in anyway if she's in a place where she can move. So, best to wait.
Take this time to rest, to gain strength. What's in there will not show mercy, even with the sun up. But you can at least find some of your own with the lights that break through the canopy.
Way to punch through the canopy If we need to make a hole, if we need to make a safe passage, is there any way?
I am sure if you come plummeting from the sky, you can break through any canopy. But
Oh, yes, yes. That's
But-
definitely a thing that one can do.
but a group of you breaking through the canopy, you would then need to be prepared to hide or fight, and hopefully you could hide. You would make yourself probably a good base in that moment, but not everything in there is afraid of the light that shines through. It could save you time, it could save you resources, but also may make you a target. There are no pros here without cons. None of the situations. None of them are good.
If we need to only go in once, and if we want to spend the least possible amount of time there, what are the chances that we might be able to scry on Rose come sunup? Figure out exactly where she is. Maybe find a tree that's close to her. Maybe make our way through from that point, and then return the way we came. Avoid most of the danger. Is that possible?
Did Roshan share that he was able to communicate with her? He did, didn't he?
Yeah, after he confirmed that it was her. Yeah.
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 And yeah, Nix, you think that sounds like something?
We could probably do if we were to send her a message to get her near a tree.
Hmm.
And then when
Okay.
I see her, she's next to one. We could go through and be there. We could go through, be there, and bring her back out the same day. If we then go back in from
That would
here.
be ideal.
If we wanted to go in twice, I don't think we'd want me to go back in the same day at that point, though. That would use the strongest of what I can do.
Right.
But if you do this choice, you could then rest.
Yeah.
And this person
Go
is
another
safe.
day.
And then you would have a tree that you could walk into.
Yes.
Oh, you haven't
right.
seen it yet.
No,
Yeah,
but I'm sure it is beautiful.
It is. It is. Truly impressive. But I think that will be the safest, most direct way for us to get in, have us exposed the least amount of time, and bring Rose back. And I agree. I think a good opportunity then to help Rose rest up, make sure that she's safe, she's well. If she needs healing, get her that, and rest ourselves in preparation for our next steps.
I'll look to Roshan.
Yeah. It's up to him.
I think there's a good 10, 15 seconds where Roshan's just staring out the window before he realizes
Everybody's staring
people
at him.
expect
Yeah.
something, and he says, what?
Ro, we're thinking in the morning we'll have you send a message to your sister and see if she's able to get herself over by a tree. A recognizable one. Something large enough for us to get out there or get her through. And make the most direct path from her to here, safely.
Roshan's lip quivers a little bit, but he nods, and probably some fresh tears, but that's what he
That
does.
kind of clasps his shoulder and says, "It's okay. She's safe. She's smart. She'll be all right. She can hunker down overnight. She'll keep herself safe and we'll get her back tomorrow. Okay?
We will gather resources. We will get you information before you go. Is there anything else?
Fenn's just sitting there, kind of petting Jenny gently. Where did you hire your mercenaries?
Oh, we have members of the community referred to as the foraging basket. They are in charge of trade with other communities and are not home as often as many other people are, giving us relations with the outside world. And on one of their trips, we requested assistance, and this is what they brought back.
And you trust them all?
Well, they have been very polite and have pretty good appetites, and it's hard not to trust somebody who has a solid appetite, especially when they have no reason to trust us.
Understood. Just thought to be on the safe side. So, we appreciate your hospitality.
Of course, you're welcome to hunker down here. We also have other accommodations if you would prefer to be somewhere else, but whatever you need.
Wherever I can be least in the way.
Well, not being in those woods right now has really lifted a great weight off of us. Not entirely, but mostly. So, for that we are grateful, and you are doing what need be done, is the arduous task of waiting.
Understood. And is there anything that makes an appropriate pot mitzvah gift? What's customary?
Oh, some people give gifts. Usually, a lot of people, well, a lot of craftsmen in the community, so a lot of made gifts, a lot of congratulations, sometimes plants, flowers, clothes. Honestly, you can get by on a pair of socks. It's really whatever. Um, Grilly will take it with a smile, as all of us did.
Thank you again for your hospitality.
Of course. Let me go get you all some blankets. And he kind of like pulls himself up and he begins to go like into an old cupboard and like begins to pull out blankets and
Sleepover.
to get everybody set up to sleep here.
We're gonna
As
make a big
everything is
nest.
as this nest is created for all of you to wait just a few more hours, wait for the sun to rise so that you can have a chance of making your own way back out of the woods. That is where we are going to stop for today. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We love telling you guys a story. If you want to be like, hey, what was that story? You can head over to youtube.com/The Dice Cult and watch all the past episodes of On the Backs of Gods to see how we got here. You can also watch one-shots, other D&D games, Vampire the Masquerade, whatever you're feeling. If you'd like to keep up with us, we're at Backs of Gods on Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to keep up with all of us, we are at The Dice Cult on Instagram and Twitter. In the chat, you will have a link for Katie's Dice, which understand story and appreciate when somebody uses their inspiration to make you re-roll remembering something. This is the second nat 20 we've gotten out of one of these re-rolls, so these re-rolls pretty good.
Good.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's
Um,
true.
I gotta save mine for a good moment.
Yes, yeah, you might want to hold on to that one for a hot second.
Like maybe for the boss fight.
I mean, or the woods,
Or
whichever one seems scarier in the moment, up to you.
That-
But thank you all for
yeah.
being here. We appreciate it and love telling you guys a story. We'll be here same time, same place, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
For joining us,
Good
cultists.
night.